Sweet. So today we're going to teach you guys how to do a knot pass using the back end of our rope here. Different than the radium, still perfectly strong. It's a little bit simpler. You don't have to have a second piece of cord. You can do exactly what we just did in the last video, except we're just going to use the exact same rope we're using, or the back end. Really would be using the back end of your new rope if you're passing that knot. So we're going to start by just putting a knot down here in the middle here, just to mimic two ropes being tied together at this point. Next thing I'm going to do, just the same as for the radiums, is I'm going to lower my load until the knot is about a foot close to the device. Again, we do not want to go much closer. That's going to give us problems later, but about a foot. So maintain a hand on the brake strand, defeat my guide mode here, lower out. Again, Alex might need some help, so in this case I'm going to let go of the brake strand, but I would never do that actually. Lower out to about a foot there, lock it off there. Cutting it closer, it's a little less than a foot, but I think we'll be good here. I guess we'll find out. Next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a pressic, going to attach it to my load. Nice and well dressed and snug. Then going to come to the back end of my rope here. Come to the back end of my rope here, I'm going to quickly tie my figure eights. In this case with the backup knot. Cool, got my figure eight here. Take a locking carabiner, clip it to my pressic and my rope here. Make sure that guy's nice and locked and loaded. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take another locking carabiner. I like to use these big ones, better for a munter because we're about to tie a munter. I'm going to come back here and I'm actually going to clip it back up to my shelf. I could use my master point. The shelf also works out. Give myself a little bit of slack here so I'm not tripping on it too much. Then going to tie my munter. I'm going to take out all of the slack so my rope is nice and tight up against my carabiner here. And what's nice about this too, the radium has a specific amount of throw, but if I'm using this method here, I have, this is a 300-foot rope. And if I'm just passing the knot, I have 300 feet that I could theoretically lower out. So we're not worried about matching up the sizes perfectly. So I have my munter here. I'm going to tie my mule and my overhand, just like Western does for their radiums. We're good to go there. Awesome. Next thing I'm going to do here is before I untie things, I'm going to, and actually to neaten this up, before I transition any load here, I'm going to move this strand so we don't have crossing strands here. Awesome. Snug that pressic nice and good here. I'm going to take this guy here, just like I was doing before. I'm going to give myself a couple armfuls of slack, tie a figure eight on a bite, and clip that back to my anchor. Again, this is going to serve as a catastrophe knot, just in case if something else were to fail or whatnot. We're still clipped in hard to the anchor, so we're not worried about our load going anywhere. Great, so I snugged up my pressic nice and tight here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lower out my load until my load is transitioned onto my new system here. So Alex can give us some heave hose here. I can help him out a little bit. I see I have a little bit of slack here. Ideally, you would want a little bit more slack than that, but I don't think it'll be an issue for us here to be able to unload these devices. So once again, cat knot's good. Our system set up here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rope from these devices. Now I'm going to set it back up with the knot just past my bottom device. Reload my guide mode. Again, double, triple checking that I'm ensuring that my load strand is on top of my brake strand. The proper way to set up an ATC guide. We're looking good with lengths here. Everything's locked and loaded. Great, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up here to my munter mule overhand. I'm going to break my overhand and my mule, and I'm going to lower out my load. Now you can see that my load is fully transitioned onto my my rope back to my original rope with the knot past the devices. And I can go back up to here and I can remove my carabiners, my munters. I can come down here, remove these pressics. Catch myself from tripping, remove the cat knot that I have up here, the catastrophe knot, neaten everything back up here, and then I'm good to continue lowering like I was before, maintaining a brake hand of the brake strand, braking the device, and lowering out my load. That's how to do knot pass the back end of your rope.